Hi there guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cryptoverse livestream. I hope you've had a good week. I've had a very good week. I just got back from Mexico having visited Acapulco. What a fabulous place, what a fabulous climate. Kind of a little bit sad yesterday when I came back. Actually a little bit sad the day I left, but that's by the by. Even when I did that live stream yesterday, just the snap one about the chart readings, people in the chat were like, "Oh, Chris looks like he's in a mood." Maybe I was in a mood. It's an interesting observation. I didn't think I was in a mood. I thought I was kind of happy, but it's different how I come across, right? So we'll see if I'm moody today. Maybe, maybe not. So let me know where you're coming from today. There's already a few people waiting in the chat for this thing to start. Let's actually turn the chat on. I have for you today about, I'm intended to have 10 news stories today. I've ended up with 14, maybe 13. There's 2 links for one of them. Because again, improving on the format from last time based on your feedback. Someone suggested, a few people suggested, can't remember, it was a good idea anyway, that I do, instead of doing what I did last time, which was do all the news stories, then the chat and Q&A portion, why not do ask story, pause for chat and comment, respond, and then do that throughout the whole show? Because that then means that the chat doesn't have to wait till the very end, and I don't have to scroll back up and find, you know, chat messages from stuff that I spoke about at the beginning, because that will mess my head up. So there we jolly well go. That's how we're going to do it today. Welcome to everybody. I'm not going to read the chat where you're from because you're from all around the world. Shout out to all of you that I met in Acapulco. That was absolutely fantastic. I think we counted 25 people that stopped me at Acapulco and said, "Oh, Chris, love the show. Carry on what you're doing." That was probably the best experience of the whole thing. Just meeting subscribers and actually having them tell me to my face how much of a difference I've made to them. So that actually was profound for me, because otherwise it's just numbers, views, and subscribers and comments. It's not people, right? It's a very different experience to look someone in the eye and they say to me, you know, "You're one of my favorite YouTubers. Thanks very much. Carry on what you're doing." That impacted me. So I'm going to continue to see the effects of that as the weeks go on. I think it's changed something unconsciously. So I'm going to be responding to the YouTube chat, which is the thing you see on the left here. I'm going to be responding to Steam messages, and also I've got Twitter open just in case anyone wants to tweet at me. But without further ado, let's get into the first segment, which we're going to do chart readings and technical analysis, which is the thing we like to do at the beginning of these shows. Let's just pop over my charts here that I've prepared. Of course, charts provided by Coinigy. If you would like to sign up for a Coinigy account, I would very much appreciate it if you would use my referral link, which will be in the show notes after the show. The video description already has a link to a Google spreadsheet with all the stories I'm going to cover. Normally I'll put that there at the end of the show. This week I'm more prepared. I know exactly what stories we're going to go through. I'm looking at my other screen, by the way. I know all the stories we're going to go through. I've made the comments and put the links there. So if you want to skip ahead and see what we're going to talk about today, click the link in the video description. You'll go straight to the Google document, which has all the stories I'm going to go through in the order I'm going to go through them, and also the links to all the stories. But for now, let's take a look at the old charts, shall we? Let's see what we've got. Bitcoin back up above 10,000 if you tuned into my live stream yesterday, which was just an impromptu breaking news type of thing. What I hoped would happen has happened. So let's recap what that is. Hopping over, actually let's stay out for a second. Just to recap, this medium-term trend line here, this white line that goes diagonally up here, that started on the September the 15th, touched on November the 12th, and again kind of broke on February the 1st. That was my medium-term trend line, and that's why I bought here, because I was expecting the price to bounce off of that trend line. It didn't. It went down further than that, all the way down to 6,000, and now is snapping back up again. So yesterday and the day before, when we saw this little crash, I was thinking, oh dear me, this medium-term trend line has broken again. However, like I was saying yesterday, I was hoping this was going to be an elastic support line, meaning it would pull down below it, but then snap back up again. That seems to be what is happening right now. So you see the price pulled down below it and is now, boom, snapping back above it. As of today, the trend line on the daily chart is chilling around $10,038. If we head over to the 1 hour chart, we can see this line is the medium-term trend line. It visited it there for maybe, it was like about 12 hours, and now has made a decisive move back up above it. So we are up above it officially at 10,159. Still a bit of volatility here. A couple of seconds ago, it was at 10,208. So we're moving like $70 or $80 at a time here. which is pretty volatile. The other thing that I've noticed here is, I also mentioned this yesterday, the next thing we need to do is break this 50 period moving average. Because again, if I zoom out here and get the brush tool, this is what's happening. We've got this downtrending pattern. You've got these lower lows. So there's a low, there's a lower low, there's a lower low, and there's a lower low. And also we've got a high, a lower high, and potentially a lower high. The thing about these lower highs here and here is that they're bouncing off the 50 period moving average. So you look here and you might expect to see a bounce again, and then for this to continue downwards, right? That would make, whoopsie, that would make sense, wouldn't it? If this pattern continues. Oh, but I get off that thing. Let me just undo those. Back, 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 back. Okay, why is not deleted that line? I will never know, but spooky things can happen on a live stream. But I think you know what I'm talking about. Let's delete that line and that line. Right. So you know what I was going to do there is draw this so that these waves to the 50 moving average and then down. If the downtrend resumes, it will go down here. If it breaks 50 period moving average, which I would hope, it would continue to go up. But on balance, there is more evidence to suggest that this downtrend is going to continue versus go up. So there is more evidence from a technical point of view, for the reasons I've just said, that it will continue downwards. So that's why you got to do the 2 time periods, right? You've got to do the 1 hour for the specific detail, and then you got to do the daily for the overall trend direction. So even on the daily, if I put the auto zoom back on, it might clean that up a bit. Even on the daily, it's still kind of bearish overall. So it's bearish on both the 1 hour and the daily chart. I have an unfortunate looking shape there, which I can't really delete right now, so we'll just get rid of it and look at another chart. So that's Bitcoin. This other level that we talked about yesterday, 11,306, would be the key level to break, which we weren't able to break 3 days ago on February the 20th. So I want to be in this range, you know, above 11,306. That would make me feel very good indeed. However, touch and go right now. That 1 hour bearish move could continue because there's an established downtrend on the 1 hour chart. I'll just do a quick survey of all the other charts. I like to do this off the top of my head because, like I said yesterday, if you look at the charts too long, you start seeing things. So what do I see here? Bitcoin Cash. I see Bitcoin Cash is also responding to its 50 period moving average. You've got here, let's get the brush out once again. You've got here a bounce off of the 50 period moving average and another one. You've got lows and lower lows. So again, if this continues, then Bitcoin Cash is going to go this way, just purely based on its historic moves, barring any fundamentals. Same sort of thing with Dashlet. Downtrending move. That's a high, that's a lower high, that's a lower high. It's bouncing off the 50 period moving average, lower lows. Everything looks pretty much the same, right? And again, there we go. We could be going that way. This looks like the wind is pretty much blowing in the same direction for most of the cryptos. EOS is bucking the trend here a bit. It's setting a higher low. Now I need to correct that fib level probably. If I get it from here to the bottom of the crash, then this here looks like somewhat of a recovery. However, if it's going down, you know, when you get a downtrend, you always get the odd green candle before it continues to fall again. So that might be what's going on there. So if that downtrend continues, this is going to be a fake out or just a slight pullback before it continues down again. And again, most of them look pretty bearish for the time being. Ethereum's having a pretty good day there, but it is sat in no man's land between the 2 moving averages. So I'm not going to be trading any Ethereum anytime soon. IOTA looking a little bit flat, still in a downtrend here. I would expect, just based on this price movement, for this to continue down as well. Litecoin's a bit of an odd one because we had this little moon here, which is now pulling back to its 50-day moving average. However, the difference with Litecoin is it looks like it's finding support from it, right? So resistance here from the 50 period moving average, kind of pulled away from it there as well, broke it here decisively, broke this Fibonacci level, which is the yellow line, and now you can see this 50 moving average is sort of supporting the bodies of the candles. NEO also is a bit of a contrarian a lot of times when I look at the charts. There is a lot of support for NEO and a lot of enthusiasm for it as a project, so often it books the trends. And again, this one's looking more bullish, right? Because it has somewhat of a mini trend established here, like that. But again, it's in contrast to, it's got to have to break its, you know, this sort of momentum that it got. Actually, there's a little bit of a triangle there. It's a really rough one, but I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to analyze that later because I've only just seen that. Monero kind of looks the same as Neo. It's very resilient on the price, and that's what it looked like in the crash and was recovered pretty well. I mean, if what I need to do is figure out how to use the chart overlay tool so you can stick two charts on top of each other, that would be useful for the live streams, wouldn't it? Because I could overlay the Monero chart onto Bitcoin, for example, and show the differences. They look similar, but I would think Monero is much more resilient. It didn't crash for very long before it came back up to the multi-$100 levels. And then Ripple, kind of flat. Again, I would expect that to continue its downtrend as well, because there's a lower low, there's a lower low, that's a lower high, bouncing off its 50-period moving average. So we could see a move like this. So we got a downer, an upper, a downer, an upper, a downer. So if that trend continues setting lower highs and lower lows, and if the overall wind continues to blow downwards, then pretty much all the charts are going to look like that, because we've just drawn that pattern numerous times. It may hinge on Bitcoin though, because its dominance is going back up again, right? The market cap overall recently has been dropping as well. So this could be a pullback from the recovery, or it could just be a resumption of the downtrend. There we go. So there's the major crash right there in terms of market cap for the whole cryptoverse. There's a pullback, and then, sorry, there's a recovery. This could be a pullback and then a new move upwards, which I hope it is. But I have to be careful with my optimism. My optimism sometimes causes me to see things, right? Because I always want to see upside potential, and that can sometimes blind me as a trader. And human being, single consciousness, subjective point of view. No one is truly objective. The only objective thing you can really say is that we are subjective. That's from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So again, I don't give directions with regards to trading, because you're responsible for the risks you take. I'm responsible for the risks that I take. All I do with my technical analysis videos is help you pick out details that you may not have otherwise seen. That's it. That's all I can do for you. Everything else is down to you. And if you want to learn how to trade, take my Master Cryptocurrency Trader course on cryptoversity.com, and that will teach you how to build your own trading strategies, how to read the charts for yourself, so then you're not relying on me, and I'm not responsible for your trading decisions, because you'll be informed and have the skills to do it yourself. So you may still come back to me to, pick out details from the charts you didn't see, but again, that also needs to be included in your own analysis before making trading decisions. You shouldn't just do something based on a single detail that I give, or any of the details I give, right? Use that, mix it up in a soup with your own analysis, and then make decisive trading decisions. So that's all I'm going to say about trading for the day. Yes, someone has Timeout has seen the accidental shape that I drew on the chart there. Now, YouTube has censored it, but I'm going to show it because it's not an offensive comment or anything. It's just an unfortunate shape that I accidentally drew there. It was not on purpose. I drew it on the 1 hour chart and it showed up on the daily. So let's see if there's any comments so far about the technical analysis portion. Got a tip, but later. You do it right. Oh, let's actually check the tips, because I did remember today to empty the tip jar from last time. So let's see what we've got. So you see in the bottom left of the corner of the fancy layout screen here, get rid of that ad. You see that we've got Dash and Litecoin tips, and every time I put it onto this screen, it will refresh. Right now, we don't have any cryptocurrency tips, so I would appreciate some tips. If you like something that I say, then let me know. That's generally how it goes. If I say something profound, the tips start coming in. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with the tips. I'm going to buy some more of these, what do they call them? Fovic minerals. I met this guy in Acapulco called Clive de Carl, and he gave me this little bottle of Fovic minerals, whatever that is, to help with this, right? With this rosacea stuff. And so far it's working quite well. I mean, it's hot in here, so I've kind of, heated up a bit, and it always looks it looks redder on camera anyway, but in real life it's getting better because of these fulvic minerals. Anyway, so that's what I'll do with the tips. I shall buy some more of these fulvic minerals and sort that out. Timeout says he can't tip, he or she, big pardon. Timeout doesn't suggest the gender, does it now? Can't tip in Litecoin. Oh my goodness me. Why not? Why can't you tip in Litecoin? Let me know what the problem is and I'll sort it out. Problem scanning LTC code. Are you sure? Are you sure? Let's see. Didn't you try Metrogel? No, I did not try Metrogel. What's that? And I don't want to put too many things in at once because I won't know what the hell solved it. So what am I going to do here? Beg your pardon a second. Let's see if I can fix this quickly. I don't want this to take over the show. No, it's not going to work. Right, I'm just going to have to... Yeah, I can't do this live. If the Litecoin address isn't working, I'll have to fix it later, but I can't do it live, otherwise it's going to mess up the recording. But for the time being, let's move on with the show. Venezuela is going to accept all crypto. Yes, I'll talk about that in a minute. It's on the list, unless you've picked that out of the list, but let's just continue with the list. So that's the technical analysis portion of the day. I don't want to turn that, make that consume the whole show. Actually, that's the next story. Venezuela orders government services to accept any cryptocurrency. This story only came out like 12 hours ago or something, 15 hours ago. So check this out. This is reported by Bitcoin.com. Let's get a little zoom here so we can see what's going on. So the story is that Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro has ordered the country's consular services, as well as several other services like gas stations and the tourism industry, to accept cryptocurrencies, including the nation's own Petro. He's announced the launch of another cryptocurrency, which is going to be the Petro Gold crypto, right? And apparently Venezuela has already raised like $800 million in its Petro pre-sale, which sounds insane, but it could be because other nations are participating in it, right? So 800 million from that point of view is peanuts. But anyway, one way to get cryptocurrency adoption is by dictating it, right? And that's what Maduro is kind of doing here. One thing that is interesting, though, it says here, look, to stop people from smuggling gasoline and stuff like that at the borders, and for paying, like on the Colombian border, I think it says in this particular story that people are paying in foreign currencies. So it doesn't like that idea. So he's going to start accepting or force the acceptance of crypto in the Petro for fuel at service stations and so on. And what else? Here it says, furthermore, he ordered a manual to be established for the payment of tourist services in the country through the Venezuela cryptocurrency or other various cryptos, like service providers, hotels, inns, national and international tourist services. That'll be interesting, because if you're a foreigner and you want to go to Venezuela for tourist reasons, well, you don't have to worry about the Forex situation, do you? You just take your crypto, pay with your crypto in Venezuela. The reason that, as far as I can tell, the reason that Venezuela are doing this, why Maduro is doing this, is he wants to be free from US sanctions and the restrictions of using the US dollar. That's pretty much why they're doing the Petro thing and why they're going to be embracing other cryptocurrencies. It surprises me that he's embracing, all cryptos, because, like I said when I did my analysis on the Petro, he can't control Ethereum or Bitcoin or Litecoin or all the rest of them. So if his citizens start using those other free and open cryptos, that kind of challenges the monopoly on the nation's own currencies, including the Petro rather, and the Bolivar. So it's confusing because it's a socialist country, right? Which is kind of anti-capitalism, anti-freedom type of thing, more dictatorial. So the soup doesn't really gel, does it? If you know how their political mindset operates, the idea of using open and transparent cryptocurrencies, you wouldn't expect someone like that to do that. So it's like, what's going on here? The Petro they can control, right? Because they're building their own private blockchain and stuff like that, according to their white paper, even though the ICO is being done on a public blockchain and so on. But we'll just have to see how this plays out. Here's another piece that I've highlighted here, which is that the Petro has already been declared illegal by the Venezuela National Assembly, it says here. And there's a quote, "If Maduro loses the election in April or is forced out of power, then Petro's would probably be made illegitimate." That's very interesting, isn't it? And this was in the news when the Petro was being announced, that the Venezuela National Assembly had already declared the Petro illegal. The project is going ahead anyway, and it can only continue as long as Maduro has the power to force it through, right? If he gets forced out, or if he loses the election, well, is that going to nuke the entire Petro project? Who knows? Maybe that's a reason to stay away from it, amongst all of the others, right? But maybe that's a primary, just even in any investment scenario, if that kind of instability existed in the future potentially, maybe that's an investment to stay away from. It's just too uncertain, right? So check out that story at bitcoin.com if you're interested. Let me just mark that one off as cleared. I've included 2 ICOs in today's show. It's something I don't think I talk enough about. And I do the sponsored reviews, mind you, but some people are asking for more ICO-oriented content, which isn't sponsored, right? So cool, I think that's fair. I think I should include more ICO information on the show, which is just purely, from me. So I've got 2. The first one that I want to talk about is D-Hedge. I quite like this project. I have been looking at this project concept since it was announced and following their progress, right? So here it is. It's D-Hedge, D-E-Hedge. And what I like about this is that this is kind of like insurance. It's D-Hedge, so you're hedging your risk. But it's almost like insurance against a coin you buy at ICO completely collapsing in value, right? And so that's basically what it's going to be. They will insure the risk. They'll basically buy the risk off you, or the platform will, or people on the platform will buy it. So I like the concept, and the reason I want to talk about it today is because their pre-sale starts on, when is it? 11 days, whenever that is. March the 7th, is it? Don't quote me on that. Go to the webpage, dhedge.com, and then you'll see the countdown for yourself. What's interesting about this here, you'll see the pre-sale has a hard cap of only $3 million. I say only because that's quite small. Now, I'm going to reiterate what I said recently. I don't know if you heard this or not. If not, it's worth repeating. I personally do not like pre-sales because it creates a 2-tiered system. It creates almost like a class system. As you'll notice from the D-Hedge website here, the pre-sale has a bonus of 25%. So if you buy 10 DHT coins, then you get 12.5, right? So I don't think that's fair. It's not a bonus. I don't think of it like that. I think of it as a discount. So if you get a 25% bonus, well, you get more coins for your money, right? So each coin costs less. The reason that's a bit of a bugbear for me is that it means the break-even point for people who buy in the pre-sale is so much lower than people that buy in the public sale. So say if all those people that buy in the pre-sale, if they all dump on day one when it goes on the exchanges, they can afford to sell at a much lower price and still make a profit. And at those prices, people who bought in at the public sale are in an immediate loss situation, right? So technically the price could drop 25%, right, from the public sale price, and the pre-sale people could still break even because they bought in 25% cheaper. So in conclusion then, I personally, if I'm going to participate in an ICO, if I can't get into the pre-sale, I don't bother, because I'm not willing to be part of that second class that is buying at a higher price, right? So you can see it like getting the pre-sale, it's cheaper, getting the public sale, and it's the base price. But you could see it the other way around. You could see that the real price of the token is, in this case, what is it? 1 cent, 1.65 cents. You could see that's the real token price, but it's 25% more expensive in the public sale. That's just a different way of perceiving it, which in my mind corrects the perception. Because do you want to buy it for 25% more than you could have? Of course not. I'm not willing to do that. So I will not participate in a public sale that had a pre-sale at a cheaper price because it's just too risky. Anyway, the public sale hard cap is 30 mil. I'm not going to go and do a full review on the live stream, of course, because I'm only spending a few minutes on each story, but let me know what you think to the old D-Hedge project. I just gave you the basics of how it's going to work. I see this as like it's insurance against a coin you buy at ICO going below its ICO price. So you are hedging your risk in case the token collapses in value. Now, there is a fee for that. It's just like an option or any insurance policy. There is a fee, you know, to sell that risk, if you like, to the platform. But it might be worth it, because number one rule of investing is not to lose money, right? If you can stay in the game long enough, you will win. That's another principle investing. As long as you're erring on the side of probability and you're doing good research and picking good projects and all the rest of it, even the good projects that go sour, as long as you can get out without a loss, that's absolutely key, because it means you can shoot again and make another investment and another one and another one and another one. Because if you keep investing, right, then you are going to make money eventually. So if you can do that over the long term and not lose money, stay in the game, you'll win. Whereas if you lose all your money, you're out of the game. So if you can just stay in the game long enough by protecting the downside, that is the absolute key. So de-hedge, that's all I've got to say about that. If you guys are interested in that, I'll do a more formal look into it. Let's just take a quick update on the old chat here. Metro gel works good for rosacea. Okay, maybe I'll just make a quick note of that. Metro gel sounds like flipping fuel or something. Anyway, thanks for that. Who's that? Andrew Interrupted. Thank you for that recommendation for the old rosacea. Both of the QR codes work when I scan with my iPhone. Okay, so someone's saying that's work. What about polymath? I haven't prepared to talk about it today. Scrub with the... Okay, nothing about the rosacea. Let's get back to crypto. I think you might have weapons of mass destruction. Who? Maduro? Don't know about that. How awesome is LightPay? Pretty awesome. So that's all I can say about that. What point of sale system could they have to support multiple cryptos? I don't see how that's got a bearing on the story, but my recommendation for point of sale systems is coinpayments.net, which is the one that I use for Cryptoversity. As it says there, for 0.5% fee, it supports 135 different altcoins. And the best feature about coin payments is you can collect payments in 135 altcoins and have them automatically converted into a currency of your choice. So if you want to end up at the end of the day with just Bitcoin, coin payments will take care of converting all the sales that you make into Bitcoin. So that's that. I'm a big fan of the old coinpayments.net. Any more questions about the stories? You must put the questions about the stories, because I'm pausing in between each story to get some feedback. And then if not, I'll move on to the next story. You replaced the 5 p.m. news. Thank you very much for that. Have I done a BTC reading? Yes, I have. Locks up your BTC for a long time. What does? What do you think about Indahash? Still think that's solid. I haven't actually sold any of my Indahash yet. How much do you weigh? That's none of anyone's business. Okay, that's it. Okay, so people have started tipping me, apparently. Let's check out the Tippios. So when I do this, I just have to wait for a second, because these numbers come from BlockCypher API. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's slightly out of alignment. Hey, thank you very much. That looks like more than one tip. So thanks very much for the Dash tips. I love me some Dash. Do love me some Dash. I don't know if you guys have seen the little interview I did with the Dash Red guy at Acapulco, but he was a jolly old fellow, a big fan of mine, absolute mad fan. He was such a mad fan. He said that, look, I want you to put in another proposal to the Dash network. And I said, well, it's a 5 Dash fee. It's like $3,000 or something. And he said, well, I'll pay for it, right? He said, I'll pay the Dash proposal fee. And then if it doesn't pass, I'll take the risk. And I was like, okay, seriously enthusiastic about the Cryptoverse, this guy. So I really did appreciate him for that. Anyway, let's move on with the stories now. Am I being censored by YouTube? Is the question. What I've noticed is that over the last maybe week, or no, not week, that's not a good example, is it now? Over the last, let's see, 2 weeks, let's say, I've noticed that the views on my YouTube channel are down, and also the rate at which new people are subscribing is down significantly. Normally, I'd see about 3,500 new subscribers every month, and that's down by about 50%. So I'm wondering, it just seems weird the consistency of, of the numbers is tailing off. Now, I'm not panicking about it just yet. I'm wondering if it's just poor content on my part. That could be one possibility, although I haven't intentionally changed it, so that's one possibility. Another possibility is that I could be being censored or shadow banned, you know, that kind of thing, where the new videos are not showing up in people's subscriber feeds. That's a distinct possibility. People have even told me that when I publish new videos, they don't get notified, or they just don't show up in their subscriber feed and stuff like that. So without getting too paranoid about it, it could also be that there's just a tailing off of interest in cryptocurrencies because the prices have flattened, right? When it's absolutely mooning like it did towards 20,000, there was tons of traffic on YouTube and people looking for information on it. And then in the crash, people who aren't in it for the right reasons kind of got turned off by it. Anyway, one of the solution, no matter what the reason, is to allow me to communicate with you directly about new videos. So if you go to cryptoversity.com/podcast, I've set up this new way to be notified. So there are all these social networks you can subscribe on, but this is a new one, email. So if you subscribe to this specific mailing list, every time a new video is uploaded to the Cryptoverse YouTube channel, the system will automatically send you an email with the name of the episode and a link to it. So this way we can make absolutely sure that if YouTube are trying to censor cryptocurrency information, we can work around it. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and sign up to the mailing list, and then you'll get notified immediately by email whenever a new episode goes live. That'll help me dial down my paranoia that I am actually being censored. And it won't matter, will it? So that's that. Moving on from there, so that link will be in the video description. There's this rumor about Everypedia developing some code that will allow, they call it the Ethereum to EOS relay code. So we know that Everypedia are going to build on EOS, right? But apparently the code that allows an ERC20 token to move to EOS, they're going to open source it, which could theoretically allow any ERC20 token and any dApp on Ethereum to take a snapshot of where it's at and then move the whole thing onto EOS. Now, I say rumor has it. I checked the Everypedia GitHub, but there's no code on there at all right now. So this is really a call to you guys. If anyone has any links or sources that can validate, verify or falsify this, I'd very much appreciate it. If that news is true, it's huge. If it's not true, then we need to bin it. But that's why I'm saying at the moment, it's just speculation. So they call it the relay code, the Ethereum to EOS relay code, apparently. So, and I've read this a few places online, not from any particular reputable sources, which is why if anyone else has any reputable sources, especially actual hard code, I'd very much appreciate it. And if you've not heard of Everypedia before, that's the supposed replacement for Wikipedia that is supported by the original founder of Wikipedia, who has become the chief information officer for Everypedia. So Everypedia is up and running already, and they're going to move this to EOS as a decentralized application. Better than that, Everypedia are doing an airdrop, so their IQ token is going to get airdropped to all EOS holders that are included in the EOS distribution list. So if you participate in the EOS ICO, you're on the distribution list and you will get a number of IQ tokens, which are the private cryptocurrency that Everypedia are going to use. So let me know what you think to that story, and if you have any sources, let me know, preferably in the comments for the recording of this episode, because it's going to be kind of hard for me to follow or take a note of them on the live show. So let's check back in with the chat here. Let's see. What do I think to InHash? We've done that one already. You mentioned C20 on an earlier stream. Have you gone back to do a thorough analysis? I have not. The whole crew at Dash seem pretty solid. Yes, they do. Just relax and do your thing. Right, am I talking too fast? Okay, I'll slow down. You are catching on. I don't think so. Looking at the recent numbers. I'm going to have to move that out of the way. Some longer comments coming in now. Just, yeah, less interest in general. Content is as good as ever. I think other channels have seen a decrease. Thank you for that reassurance. You missed the context when you read the chart after several stories. Talked about Venezuela and the insurance service, and you tagged the comments to the wrong story. I recommend one story equals one chat. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of trying to do. I'd say it's censoring and the market. Okay. I can't make sense of your numbers being down. You present facts, and in the space, we're dealing with faves. Facts. Facts mean everything. Yeah. I personally, at risk of my own reputation, recommending you to others. That's a good thing, isn't it? That's the thing. While this is generally the feedback I got from people at Anarchapulco, they said the reason that they refer their friends to me is because I'm kind of a safe bet, which is kind of like, it's kind of bittersweet for me. It means I'm not particularly exciting, right? Or anything like that. It means I'm sort of reliable and consistent and all the boring stuff, which is cool, right, in the long term. But I have to be happy with that, because the flip side to that is that reliability breeds confidence and trust, and then people will refer their friends to me, right? Which was generally the consensus, and some people in the chat are saying the same thing. What's your take on Litecoin Cash? I'm not particularly taking that very seriously. I did do a quick story about it. We'll talk about it a bit later. How was the meetup with Mike Maloney? You really need to put the questions relating to the stories, right? So I think that's all there is with regards to the specific stories that I mentioned, so I'm going to move on from there. So I found this new tool, right, called Morph, and it's kind of like a shapeshifty style tool. Check this out. It's actually morphtoken.com. This kind of works like Shapeshift in the sense that you can convert one cryptocurrency for another. So here I could say I want to deposit 1 Bitcoin and receive 34 Monero. The difference with this though is if you click this add button, you can actually split the Bitcoin coming in and convert it into multiple currencies coming out. So say I wanted to take 1 Bitcoin and split it, a third in Monero, a third in Ethereum, and a third in Bitcoin Cash. Boom, you just do that. Or you can weight it. So you just change Monero to 50% and then say 40% in Ethereum, and then, oh, hello. It's kind of hard to get perfect, right? But you get the idea. You just set the percentages that you want in the various tokens, and then it splits it. So it works exactly like Shapeshift. When I click Morph, it will then ask me to enter my Monero address, my Ethereum address, my Bitcoin Cash address, and then send the Bitcoin to them, and I'll get back my 3 coins that I asked for. Now, of course, you do already need a Monero wallet, an Ethereum wallet, and a Bitcoin Cash wallet in this case, but it supports a whole bunch of other coins as well, Dash and, well, Litecoin so far. It's reasonably new, which is why it doesn't support that many coins, but it's pretty cool, isn't it? If you want to do multiple conversions in one go, check out morphtoken.com. I just found that, I thought that was pretty cool, so let me know what you think to that in the chat. Any more questions coming in? Any more questions coming in? Can Ethereum scale? You are catching on to YouTube censorship. Too many scams on YouTube. Can you please bring some attention back to using Bitcoin as a currency? Yes. I will keep my eye out for stories along those lines. I wouldn't sell your gold or silver. No, I wouldn't either, personally. Okay, so that's it. Kind of caught up with the chat now. Let's talk about another ICO I've got my eye on, which is the Abyss. So let me pull up this site, theabyss.com. I was working on a more formal review of this, which I was just going to release, for free. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. These are just a couple of ICOs, D-Hedge being one, the Abyss being another one that I personally picked out as one that I like the look of. So I like this project idea as well. One of their claims to fame here is that it's the world's first DICO, which is kind of like, is that like decentralized autonomous ICO? So this is a way to prevent ICOs from running off with the money, basically. So it's a DICO in the sense that the money that an ICO receives in a crowdfund gets released gradually. So you can read the post about it. they're going to rig a smart contract so that once the ICO is complete and it hits its caps and all that kind of thing, there'll be a certain amount of funds released from the smart contracts to the developers, like in a trickle, right? And that rate is set by the smart contract. Now, if the developers say, well, we need more money, they can actually ask all the token holders, please, will you increase the tap, turn the tap on some more and have some more coming through. And then the token holders can say yes or no. But the token holders won't say yes unless the development team are actually making progress. This is the key thing, right? The token holders in DICO also have the option of cancelling the project and then getting their money back. So it really puts the developers, on the hop, and they have to produce code and communicate and all the rest of it to reassure their investors, A, so that they keep getting paid, and B, so they don't cancel the project, right? And so that's what the DICO thing is, and they're holding themselves accountable by following this DICO model. But the project itself is going to be one of those rivals for the Steam gaming platform. Now, I thought this originally, the company that's behind this, I think it's called Destiny Games. Is it Destiny Games? And I thought it was the developers of, down there, look, powered by Destiny. I thought they were the developers of Destiny the game. I did a bit of investigation. It doesn't mention anywhere on their website that they developed Destiny the game. So I have to assume that they're not the publishers of that. That would have been cool though, because they would be a heavy hitter if they were the publishers of the actual Destiny game. So you'll see that there is a lot of monopolization in the gaming market. You've got Origin, you've got Steam, and then you've got a couple of other contenders. Here's a nice little comparison chart of how Abyss is going to be better. The bottom line in this industry of producing games is, according to the Abyss, they say that we're in a situation now where it's cheaper to build a game than it is to market and promote it. That's insane. And platforms like Steam and iTunes and all those kind of people, they take a huge slice of the revenue. So A, marketing is incredibly expensive. If you're a startup game, that costs a ton of money, and even when you start receiving sales, the platforms take a huge fee. So the Abyss wants to disintermediate that, right? Take out the middleman. The Abyss will sit in the middle as a smart contract system. The developers of the games can then publish on the Abyss platform directly to the gamers. The gamers can pay in crypto and yada, 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 and discovery and all that kind of stuff as well. Key to success of this particular project, in my opinion, is their referral scheme. So they've got a two-sided referral scheme. If developers refer other developers, then there's a referral scheme for that. And then if gamers refer other gamers, they get rewarded for that as well. That's absolutely essential because it's a marketplace. You need both sides of the order book, right? You need suppliers of games and consumers of games. And there needs to be equal incentive on both sides so that tons of new games come online and tons of new players come online. So if I introduce 5 other developers, then I receive a portion of the fees that that they pay to the platform. So I'm not entirely sure specifically how the fees will work, but I imagine they'll pay to publish the game and things like that, host the game is in a fixed fee format rather than these ridiculous 30% fees that iTunes and Steam charge, right? And also Steam get to determine what games get featured games and all the rest of it, right? Whereas I would hope that if the Abyss is going to achieve the goal that they state, they would have a much more fairer way of rotating the games and showing them, in the search results and that kind of thing. So I am planning to release a formal review on this. I say planning to. I've got it half written, but I had to go to Acapulco, so didn't have time to finish that. And the ICO starts on the 7th of March, so maybe I'll get time to finish that before it launches. So there's a whole bunch of other detail that I've written down that I didn't mention just now that I would like to share with you. So if you're interested in hearing more about the Abyss ICO from a neutral point of view, not sponsored, let me know in the chat. And also if you're watching the recording of this, let me know in the comments. So let me mark that one off. Let's go back to the chat, see what everyone's talking about. If you just hit the like button for us, guys, I'd appreciate that very much. Let's see, I haven't actually checked Twitter or Steam in the last few minutes, so I'll check that. Thoughts on Ethereum Classic, that's not relevant. When Moon, every day. Z Classic, no. Shapeshift Alternative, Morph Token, link in the video description. Don't be lazy. Well done for the channel. Look at the chat. All civilized. That's a good point. It's your audience, result of your product. No big promises or bad-mouthing anyone else. That is a fantastic comment. That is the comment of the day. That is very true. It did occur to me that the reason why one of my channel is one of the smaller channels on YouTube is because of the type of audience that I attract, right? So Superman has tons of subscribers, but the type of subscribers are going to be attracted to the type of content you put out. So Superman does a lot of ICO, you know, like which is going to be the next biggest coin and all this sort of stuff. So his messaging is very much like how to get rich, you know, type of thing. Yeah, I want you to get rich as well, but I'd rather you get rich on fundamentals rather than, you know, an ICO that moons and then you know, sell it and so on. So that's not an indictment or a recommendation either way for Superman or any other YouTuber. I'm just saying it's a law, isn't it? That whatever content you put out, that's what people are going to respond to. And whatever product you put out will appeal to a particular type of audience. So I suppose because I am kind of measured and consistent and calm, then people who value that will be attracted to me and subscribe to me as opposed to anyone else, right? So it may just be a case of that there's a larger population of people that want, you know, lots and lots of ICO information, and there's just a smaller population of more clear heads, if you know what I mean, that are like me. Maybe that's the reason why the land lies as it does. So I'm fine with it either way. It's just sometimes I get caught up in the numbers and I look at Data Dash who's approaching 300,000 subscribers and I feel bad, you know, because that's like 6 times more than me. And I'm like, oh, am I doing something wrong? Should I change the channel? This is just the plight of the human being, right? Comparing ourselves to others and doubting ourselves and so on. You know, all the meditation in the world, you'll still have some stuff to clear out. And, you know, that's same for me as well. Do you rate Golem? I haven't talked about it today. Is BritBrum on next year? I don't know officially. CoinFest is on though, which I'm hosting. How socialism is dictatorship? Well, they're not the same thing. Venezuela is a socialist country, but I said that Maduro is dictating that the country will start accepting cryptocurrencies, right? Debitum is doing yada yada yada. Okay, fine. You are human. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Some people don't seem to think so. Some people seem to think I'm somehow a robot or an AI or something that can achieve perfection and never make a mistake and so on. That's another thing about my audience. They're very forgiving, right? And very, very loving. Even when I do mess up, they give me Data Dash isn't posting videos anymore either. Yeah, I noticed that. But he did put out a video, I think it was yesterday, saying he's been on his world tour and he'll be back to normal soon. All right, let's get back to the story, shall we? Ding, ding, ding. New software updates from Ledger wallets. So I'm fiddling around with my Ledger today, and the Litecoin wallet now supports SegWit, don't you know? Now, I found this out because I was actually playing with it. So you know, at the minute it's a Chrome app, but I'm going to talk about how that's being replaced in a mo. So I'm using my Ledger Nano S, and I went into my Litecoin wallet actually to empty the tips from the previous live stream, and boom, just like in the same way that Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash work, you open the wallet and it says which type of Bitcoin wallet do you want to use. Like, do you want to use your legacy wallet or your SegWit wallet? Well, Litecoin now does that. So you open the Litecoin wallet, you can either use the legacy one or the SegWit one. So that's pretty cool. Litecoin has had SegWit for a while. It's just that Ledger has been using the old address format since then, right? Until now. So I did attempt to take the tips from my keep key, I think is where the tips go, and I tried to send it to my Ledger's SegWit wallet for Litecoin. But the keep key did not recognize this SegWit address as a valid Litecoin address, right? So let me walk you through the process. I opens up my Ledger Nano S, I opens up Litecoin wallet, I opens up the SegWit Litecoin wallet, gets the address, pastes that into keep key, and said to keep key, send the tips to this address to empty the wallet, right? And keep key at wallet app said, don't recognize that as a valid Litecoin address. So that means that KeepKey doesn't recognize Litecoin SegWit addresses. So what I had to do instead was just empty it into another KeepKey wallet that I had, in the app there. But good news, Litecoin supporting the old SegWit in Ledger Nano S. Pretty good stuff. So the implications are that as people start using SegWit more on Litecoin, that will lift the burden on the blockchain and allow Litecoin to process even more transactions in a single block than it already does. So that's pretty sweet. And if LitePay is going to take off, and if Litecoin becomes more of the mainstream currency, because it's faster, it has more capacity, and now it supports SegWit and lower fees and all the rest of it, then LitePay would be bringing a lot more transactional volume to the network. So the more SegWit adoption, the better, right? So that's all I wanted to say about that. The other thing that I noticed in my Ledger app today is that Ledger now protects against man-in-the-middle attacks right on the device. So the way that works is that every single time I clicked receive, the app itself actually pops up with a window, and before it displays the address, it says check the address on the device. And I look at the device and I click, yeah, okay, I'll check it on the device. Then it shows the address on screen and it shows the address on the device. And you have to say, yes, it's the same. Because if you remember, recently it came out about these man-in-the-middle attacks for hardware wallets. So if your computer was compromised, say, even if you were using a hardware wallet, a malicious piece of software on your computer could swap the receiving address inside your wallet app without you knowing. And then you'd say authorize transaction from your hardware wallet and someone would steal it. So while technically the private key is still protected in your hardware wallet, it would be attacked at the software level and the money would be sent to someone else. So the way around that, as Ledger recommended, is to verify that the address on the screen that you're sending to is the same as was on the Ledger screen, right? So I'm talking about the device itself. This actual screen should display the address you are sending or receiving from, right? And if it matches on the screen as to the device, you're good to go, because the this is the ultimate authority. Whatever it says on here is where it's going to go. So if the address changes on the screen, you go, I don't recognize that address, say no, and then it will prevent that man-in-the-middle attack, right? So I was quite pleased by that. You can also support the show by buying a Ledger Nano S through my referral link, which if you click on the sources in the video description, row number 8, which is the story I've just mentioned, it has a link to my Ledger affiliate link. So I'll get a bit of commission if you buy a Ledger Nano S through my link, which I do recommend. I use the Ledger Nano for all kinds of things. And if you wanted a reason to buy a Ledger Nano S, the next story should really excite you. So this is breaking news that came out, I don't know, 3 hours ago, I think it was. Just when I was preparing for the live stream, I saw this story. It's that Ledger have announced new desktop and mobile apps. Now, because the Chrome apps are being retired, which was announced like last year sometime, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what are Ledger going to do? Because their whole platform is based on Chrome apps, right? The Bitcoin wallet, the Ledger Manager app, and all the rest of it. Well, this is the answer. They're going to launch desktop and mobile wallet applications, which are native to various operating systems. Here's the humdinger though. You see here, initially released feature, one unique app for all cryptocurrencies. Yes, indeed, that's what I said. One app for all cryptocurrencies. That would be absolutely fantastic. So check out the little screenshot here. Down the left, it's like personal Bitcoin account, Ethereum account, Doge account, and all the rest of it. Rather than having to switch between them, there we jolly well go. It's all going to be inside one fantastic app. Even looks like a little portfolio manager with graphs and historical price movements and that kind of thing. So cool. In addition, we're talking about mobile apps. So I imagine that you'll plug this via USB into your Ledger, and you can authorize mobile app transactions from your Ledger as well. Absolutely bloody brilliant, right? Now, just before I go on, it says here at the bottom, In terms of availability, the first release will be the desktop version during the second quarter of 2018. Boo. And then mobile version in quarter 3. And then they'll release a new version of the Ledger Manager app in second quarter as well. So while this is an announcement, I imagine they're just doing this to stay, in the news, because you can't actually download this thing yet. It's just a little teaser. Good news nonetheless. But check out this list of initial features, for macOS, Linux, yada yada, multi-device support, a dashboard for your currencies, and yada yada yada. 23 cryptos supported, but what we really want to know is what are the future features. So here's some good ones. If you have one of those older HW1 wallets, that's going to be supported. That should be pleasing to many of you. The Android and the iOS apps, check this out. A feature that automatically installs or uninstalls apps on the Ledger Nano S to smoothly transition between cryptos. So that thing that really gets on your nerves about the Ledger Nano S not having enough storage space for all the coins that you want to use, right? Like I had to do it this morning when I wanted to reinstall the Litecoin app. I had to remove the flipping Neo app from the device and the Digibyte one, and then install the Litecoin one before I could mess around with my Litecoin. It's just a pain in the bum. It's the biggest drawback of the Ledger Nano S. So obviously you can't install new memory in the thing, right? So this is a feature. What if it just automatically swapped them around for you, right? Go. That's a brilliant feature. A couple of other things like third-party integration with exchanges and so on. Transaction tags and notes, that's brilliant. I do like a bit of that. I want to be able to tag transactions and make notes as to what it was for, because you can never remember, can you? And also 100 plus cryptocurrency support. Eek. So that question people always ask me, which is, Chris, which wallet supports all the cryptos? Well, there isn't one that supports all the cryptos, but if Ledger support over 100 currencies, well, it will be one of the most widely supporting wallets of all, will it not? So that and the mobile app right there. It says here that the new application will have its own set of native USB drivers, right, for plugging in the Ledger. But it says Google Chrome won't be required anymore. However, that means that compatibility with the Chromebook platform will be broken, because a Chromebook only runs Chrome, and if it's not going to be a Chrome app anymore, no good for Chromebook users. But I don't use a Chromebook, so I'm happy. I like the idea of having a native desktop app for Windows and also a mobile app for my iPhone. And I don't think there's ever been a Ledger mobile app, has there, right? So that'd be sweet if you could, carry some cash around on your Ledger wallet on your phone and then authorize the transactions with hardware. That would be absolutely superb. So there's another reason to buy a Ledger wallet if you've never bought one before. All right, referring back to the old chat, I did not. Let me go to Twitter, see if anyone's tweeted at me. No. A couple of new followers, but that's it. Let's check Steam, see if there's any questions on Steam, because I feel like I've kind of neglected Steam a little bit today. Oh, there's quite a few cool questions, comments, and so on. If I sort them by age order and see what you're saying. So much news. Seen the recent good news on Steam and Steam-backed dollars? Well, there's some new exchanges announced by Steam and Steam-backed dollars. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin dominance, both short and long term? Bitcoin dominance figure is pretty irrelevant. So, like on CoinMarketCap, this here number, Bitcoin dominance. This is like one of the dumbest measures ever, because every time a new cryptocurrency is added to CoinMarketCap, of course Bitcoin's dominance is going to go down. So if Bitcoin's market cap, it has to keep growing in order to maintain the same Bitcoin dominance, right? So say, for example, a new cryptocurrency launches, which accounts for 1% of the entire market cap, and then it gets added to CoinMarketCap. Well, that would show the Bitcoin dominance figure drop by 1%. So that's not necessarily Bitcoin's dominance dropping, it's just being diluted by the fact that more coins are being included in the data set. So it's not a particularly, insightful figure, right? Look, 1,519 currencies now on CoinMarketCap. And every time one is added, it might erode the Bitcoin dominance, right? And it might look like Bitcoin's losing dominance when it's not really, it's just being diluted by new coins. So that's my thoughts on that. I completely stole that insight from someone at Acapulco. Sorry, I can't remember who it was, but There we go. I had some US residents can't buy EOS. That's not really relevant to the stories from today. Will do later today. Any hints on the ever repeated airdrop? There are no hints. You just participate in the EOS ICO and then you'll get the... And if you're on the distribution list, you should get some. Any update on the Litecoin cash fork? Yeah, it happened. It started trading. We'll look at that in a bit. Do you think the Lightning Network and SegWit will be enough to bring back Bitcoin's market share? Again, I've just addressed that in terms of Bitcoin dominance. The real market share you want to look at is Blocktivity, right? Which I look at quite often. So Blocktivity.info, this is the real value of blockchains, as it says there. So market share is not just market cap. I would suggest that market share is more about which blockchains are actually having the transactions on them, right? So you see here, if you, I mean, this isn't charted, I don't think. It is charted. So this is actually market share over the last 7 days by transactions. So Bitcoin's market share is actually 5.5% in terms of actual transactional volume. Steam has 47.5% market share in terms of transactions going on. I suppose it would be more insightful if this only included the currencies, you know, the Bitcoins, the Litecoins, the Dashes and that kind of stuff, the cryptocurrencies that are actually meant to be currencies. And if you charted them in terms of number of transactions, I suppose I could do that figure because it's in the table here on Blocktivity. So that's what I think about that. Do I think Lightning Network and SegWit will be enough to bring back Bitcoin's market share? Well, we've already got SegWit. So if that was going to bring back Bitcoin's market share, it would have done. Lightning Network is developing, so we'll have to see about that. How did the workshop go? Will you be doing another? Workshop went very well. No plans to do another at this time. All right, moving back to the news. Lisk completes its rebrand and sets up for growth. So let's go over to Lisk. Let's go over to Lisk on CoinMarketCap. So here's Lisk on CoinMarketCap. Let's look at a 1 month view. So even though this announcement was like a couple of days ago, when Lisk announced its new rebrand and so on, the price has been slipping ever since. The main reason for that may be because other than the announcement of a new brand and a new website, there wasn't really any news with regards to the development of the technology. Maybe that's why the market is disappointed. And I'm suggesting that the market is disappointed because since 5 days ago, you had Lisk right here at $35, and now it's slipped quite significantly to $22. So that's the basis on which I'm saying the market is disappointed. So it might be one of those, you know, buy the rumor and sell the news. That looks like exactly what has happened here. A run up in anticipation of the rebrand and then a sell-off. So the biggest thing Lisk has going for it is that it uses JavaScript. So if you don't know what Lisk is, it's a blockchain platform that allows you to build applications on the Lisk blockchain. Specifically, you can write the applications in JavaScript, which is the most popular programming language on the internet. It powers web page scripts far and wide, right? Like cookies and all that sort of stuff, online ads. JavaScript is used massively on the internet. So Lisk was smart enough to say, if that's the most popular programming language and people want to write blockchain apps, rather than people have to learn a new language like Solidity, which is Ethereum's programming language, which is a whole new paradigm, then all these JavaScript developers don't have to retool, right? They can just write decentralized apps in the language they already know, like millions of developers. They can just write them in JavaScript and then plonk them on the Lisk blockchain. Pretty sweet. So the only thing with Lisk is that it's got kind of a heavy reliance on sidechain technology for its scaling, which, as you can see here, this is like the main blockchain, and then you've got sidechains for if you want a personalized blockchain, or if you want to build an app or something that does something above and beyond the core functionality of Lisk. And again, sidechains are still in their infancy, so we will have to see exactly how they roll out. There aren't that many real-world experiments going on yet, so it remains to be seen whether this is the right approach or not. But definitely Lisk has the JavaScript stuff going for it. So what do you guys think to that story? Let's see what you all think to that. Someone has been censored here. They've put some kind of comment in Spanish, I think that is. Why has YouTube censored that? Does it know? I don't even know what that means. So let's... Oh, we've got more people asking questions now in the chat. I'll have to scroll back a little bit. Thanks for keeping us updated. It was nice to meet you in Acapulco. Nice. Not quite... I can't really see your thumbnail there, but I'm pleased to meet everyone at Acapulco. Does the Ledger Nano S need firmware update for this feature? I don't think so. I did actually update. It wasn't the firmware on Ledger. I don't think it's going to need a firmware update. However, if it does, it'll tell you as soon as you plug it in when you install the new software. I think we in the space were like people were like 97 and think the internet is rubbish, yada yada. Light pay will be as big as email. maybe as big as Hotmail. What else we got? Can you guys put question marks on your questions, because it's kind of hard to pick them out otherwise. I might have to just zoom into my chat here because there's so many messages coming in. So many big talkers. Show me your balance. What kind of balance? Let's check the tips. Let's see if we've got any more tips here. I just have to wait for a refresh. Doesn't look like any new tips have come in. What do I think to Library's future? I've gone off Library, to be honest. It's I don't think it's competitive with some of the other offerings out there now. I was super enthusiastic about it, but now I've got things like DTube, which from a user's point of view are absolutely just so much better. You know, I've got to absolutely crush it. Let's see what else we got. People arguing in the chat. Okay, fine. Chat says I was his first super chat. I noticed that you bought 150 Litecoin Cash. Oh, that's not for me. Who else has 12,000 Litecoin? Yeah, so what do I think of Library's future? I've already addressed that. I purchased EOS on Kraken. Nope, okay, that's not relevant to the stories. Let's move on. Here's another couple of stories that relate to each other. The first story is this. It's small firms increasingly are reluctant to borrow from big banks, according to a report. And it says here, this is the Telegraph in the UK. It says here, companies would rather forego growth than borrow money from a bank. That's a terrible indictment, isn't it? Absolutely terrible. Then it gives some figures here, like only 1.7% of small firms sought new loans in the first half of 2017, down from 3%, so that's down like by a half. Anyway, they're talking about the British Business Bank and so on and so forth. It says here, the Treasury Committee will vote tomorrow on whether to use parliamentary power to publish a watchdog report into the Royal Bank of Scotland's now defunct turnaround unit Global Restructuring, which was accused of widespread mistreatment of struggling firms over a 5-year period. So it also says here that the British Business Bank found a record number of startups in the UK, with more than 414,000 launching last year, and the highest ever proportion of small businesses in the UK economy as a whole, which suggests that Britain has a thriving startup culture. And also it says here the majority of small and medium-sized enterprises that were surveyed here expected no impact from leaving the EU. Now, so that was the setup, right? Small firms reluctant to borrow from banks. Maybe that's the erosion of trust. However, the next story relates directly to that, which is SALT. The SALT cryptocurrency project continues to expand across the United States. So here we jolly well go. This is SALT's newsletter bulletin that came in to me recently. And you see it says SALT is servicing new states. So it's got these colored states that it's now in new jurisdictions, such as Arkansas, Delaware, New Jersey, North Carolina have just been added to the list, and they can now receive commercial loans. Now, just quickly, if you're not familiar with SALT, this is another real solid project in terms of its fundamental idea. And it's basically the idea where you can borrow fiat currency and secure it, collateralize it with crypto. What I want to use this platform for is to lend my fiat currency. and then secure it with crypto. That means that if I loan you money and you default on the loan, well, then I get your crypto. That to me is win-win, right? I either receive the interest and the fiat currency back, or I receive your crypto collateral. Brilliant. Again, once again, disintermediating the banks, which is why I've spoken about this on the back of that previous story that says small firms are reluctant to borrow from banks. These alternative peer-to-peer lending platforms are going to be so much more appealing to businesses and individuals, right? So it says here on the SALT newsletter, movement on the loan queue. So it says 64,000 active members with $25 million in funded loans so far. Can you believe that? At the moment, they only support US dollars and in those various states. So unless I have US dollars, I can't loan any out. When they finally decide to expand to Europe and UK, maybe I can start lending out my British pounds. And as soon as they have that feature, I will do it, right? And the way that the SALT token acquires value is you have to pay for a membership to the platform in SALT tokens. And the more you want to borrow, the higher level membership you have to get. So pretty interesting news from SALT. The thing about people and businesses not borrowing from banks is there'll be no need for bailouts in the future, right? It's only because of such centralized lending that the bank has such a large exposure to risk. If there's a lot of defaults, then the bank has to stand that. Whereas SALT isn't actually lending the money. It's their users who are lending the money, right? So you'll only get these little defaults one by one, and it's all collateralized. So that's kind of important. And of course, if the fluctuating price of the crypto you're using as collateral drops, you'll have to fund it with some more collateral. There are other there are other like peer-to-peer lending platforms around. This one isn't particularly crypto oriented, but if you've ever heard of Funding Circle, I've got a Funding Circle account that I use to lend out money. So this is another option that's becoming increasingly popular amongst people and businesses. So I've been using this for years, and it does provide solid returns for lending fiat in exchange for fiat. The difference with this is it's unsecured, as it says right down there in the bottom left corner. Unsecured loans from 5k to 500k. And there has been some defaults on the loans that I've given, but you could just kind of play in the numbers, right? You factor in the losses in your overall return. So that's why SALT is even superior to Funding Circle. And Funding Circle have got like, let's see what it says, £3.2 billion on loan. That's a large amount of money. And they're obviously taking fees for that. They take a fee on the returns, on the interest rates. But SALT can completely disintermediate that, and it's superior because the loans are collateralized. I'd feel much better lending my money out on SALT than I would on Funding Circle because there's security. So as soon as SALT's up and running, I'm just going to pull my money out of Funding Circle and stick it into SALT loans, right? So there we go. If you want to check out those two stories, the links are in the video description, including the link to the SALT newsletter, because they've provided a web-based version of that. If you think about what you're really doing when you borrow money, is you're kind of borrowing against your future productivity, right? So you could technically save up, right? If your productivity is such now, you could provide value to the marketplace, receive payment, and then save up for whatever it is you want to do, start a business or whatever, right? Whereas you might say to the lender, hey, I believe that my productivity in the future is going to increase. So I want to take some of that productivity from the future, the future productivity I'm going to get paid for in the future, and bring it into the present, right? So I can spend the money now and then increase my productivity, and then I'll earn the money back to pay back the loan and so on, right? So that's just the way I think about it. It's borrowing future productivity to spend now, and you're speculating that you can invest the money in such a way that your productivity will increase, right? So you can pay back the loan and make a profit, if you know what I'm saying. So I quite like thinking of those philosophical frameworks to understand the fundamentals. All right, I've got two stories left, and then we'll play out. So let's see what else everyone is saying in the old in the old chat here. I'm glad I'm getting some positive feedback. I did some in-depth preparation for this particular live stream today, so I appreciate the positive feedback. Do you need to hold EOS on a wallet with a private key? That's not relevant to today's show. Kyle is the EOS genius. Yes, Kyle from the Awakenment YouTube channel. He just talks about EOS. That's it. So if you want to keep up to date on the latest EOS news, check out the Awakenment YouTube channel. I subscribe to Kyle. He's I think he's a Brit as well, so kind of like listening to him. It makes me feel like home, even though I am at home, you know. So some people are saying there's some more tips come in. Let's have a look at the old figures here. Nope, they haven't changed at this time. So let's move back to the chat, see if we've got any questions. Why won't you tip the guy? Yeah, why won't you tip the guy? Me, tip me. Go on. Unless you think I've not provided any value today, which isn't fair, because I have. Because I've decided I have. Show some appreciation, yeah. Hit the like button at the very least. Yeah. Mr. Timeout is like a big fan of mine. Big fan. I appreciate him. I don't know what their name is. I wish I could call them he or she, but always in the live streams, always giving tips, and big tips at that. So very much appreciate the old Timeout. Moving on from there to the third floor for Litecoin. Here we go. Okay. There's Litecoin on the up. Let's just check the chart right now on my other screen. Oh yes, it's on the run, matey boy. Maybe I'll come back to the Litecoin chart in a second. Well, what the person in the chat is referring to, whoopsie, is this. So look at Litecoin today. Wow, we talk about a bounce off the 50-day moving average. Yippee. What's that on the 24-hour? If we refresh CoinMarket, it's like a 9.8% gain. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I included Litecoin in my crash portfolio. I said cr because YouTube doesn't like the word crash. If I check my crash portfolio here, where I bought various coins, let's see where Litecoin is at. Litecoin, it's 40% from the crash, but it's not as high as it was. Yeah, like 3 days ago it hit a much higher point. So thanks for that little tip there about Litecoin getting a little moon. Not that I'm going to do anything about it. Would you like to find out more about Library? No. I've kind of gone off it. What else we got here? Best platforms to buy things with crypto. Well, OpenBazaar is good. They're actually planning their own token sale. This chat window is a distraction from the subject. I agree. If people are holding crypto, why would they need a loan from Salt? What? Like it's people like it's people like people. Like it's like people who are holding gold to use that as collateral like cash converters, but use household things. Well, collateral is where, think about it, when you get a mortgage, right, you don't sell your crypto to buy your house, do you? I haven't heard many people doing that. A few people have done that, sold their crypto to pay off their house, but it's the same thing. You're using an asset, which is your house, to collateralize the mortgage. In fact, sometimes if you want to start a business and the bank requires collateral for the loan, you could secure it on your house, right? So you say, yes, I have value in my house, which is an asset, and you know, theoretically I could sell my house and get the cash and then spend it on starting the business, but then I have no house. So collateral is when you have an asset that you want to keep, ideally, right? Like a house or crypto, but you want to use that, you leverage the value in that for something else. So you don't want to sell your crypto, but you might want to borrow the fiat, right? So you don't intend to default. So you intend to keep the crypto and the loan, investing in a business and grow it, right? And only if things go bad do you lose your crypto. So Crypto Brad's just got a slight misunderstanding about how collateral works, right? So the question was, if people are holding crypto, why would they need a loan from Salt? Well, they don't need a loan. They might want a loan, right? And they might want a loan for whatever reason they want a loan anyway. It just so happens that Salt have carved out a niche that allows people to collateralize the loans they want with crypto, as opposed to securing it on your car or securing it on your house or any other asset. So that's how that works. It's a pretty well established financial principle, right? It's just applied to crypto. Not sure it'll appeal, but who knows what industry will be competitive regardless. Not sure what that means. Do you find it convenient we always recover on future settlement dates? Didn't notice that. But would you make a Telegram channel for us to chat with you? Ryan Crypt says that. Well, I've got an announcements channel, but if you want to chat in Telegram, you'll have to join as a patron because it's just so time consuming. The amount of people that would join a public channel, I just don't have time for that. So you can join Telegram if you become a patron, and then you can get into the private chat group that way. Anything else? Were you watching a monkey? Nope, don't know what the hell that is. I don't know if that's for me. I think it's people arguing in the chat. Oh, Cryptobad says, okay, thanks, Chris. That makes sense. Ah, well, there we go. That's nice. Pretty good. Moving on, let's go check Steam. Because, you know, with Steam, I can tip people. So I encourage you all to join Steam. I got my LLC. LLC? I think it's LCC, Litecoin Cash. Took me 3 days, but figure it out by the wallet and syncing. Got my coins, waiting for blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. I think actually that's the last story. No, I've got 2 stories left. Let me do them quickly. Let's actually just clear up some of these tabs before I move on. Otherwise, I click on the wrong thing. Close that. So this next story, second to last story, Qcoin and Ravane host a contest to win a Lambo. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And but I thought this was cool because they clearly know their market, right? Because, you know, the big thing, when Moon, when Lambo, everyone wants to make money to buy a Lambo. That's kind of the meme in the crypto space. Well, they've took it seriously. So Ravane's New Year's gift, Lamborghini Huracan. Now, unfortunately, this competition is already over, as you can see here. It ended on the 22nd of February, but it's in partnership with Ravane, which is a project that is going for provably fair reviews, right? If you've ever heard of Ravane. But check that out anyway. So what they've done is they've put up a prize fund of Ethereum, like 160 ETH, up for grabs, and a Lamborghini Huracan. And the way you win this, or the person who's going to win this, is the person that trades the most Ravane on Qcoin during that week, between, what was this, February the 12th and February the 22nd. So a 10-day period. And first prize for the person who has the highest trading volume is a Lamborghini Huracan Coupe specifically. And then goes down from there. Second place gets 15 ETH and blah, 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 right? And now someone's already won it. Whoever this is, #1 ranking, that has traded what? What's that? Is that 305? Hang on, I can't even see it. 617, 30 million Ravane, I think that is. So whoever this person is, which their email address is hidden, whoever that is that traded 3 million or 30 million Ravane, whatever that is, has won the Lambo, right? And you can see, look at the distance between first place and second place. The first place is just the out and out winner of that. So they're going to win the Lambo, whoever that is. Hope it's you. Hope it's you. Nice to win a Lambo for trading coins. I think that particular strategy is pretty clever, right? I actually made a note of this. It's genius because it's a strategy that Ravane have invested some money in the Lambo and the prize fund in order to boost the trading volume for their coin. Now that's even more genius because if it gets featured on Qcoin like that, then the project itself will get more widely discovered. Yeah, it's a promotion, right? It's a marketing campaign, but it's not marketing by ads. It's marketing in a much more, I'd call it a fun way, using a hot button that they know already exists. You know, tons of us in crypto want to buy a Lambo with our profits, so why not give one away, right? And in this particular image, they've got the Ravane logo tattooed on the side of the car. So I just thought I'd bring that up as kind of a fun thing. The Qcoin have got a sense of humor, and so have Ravane by the sounds of things. Final story of the day is a Litecoin Cash is trading. So let's have a look at it. If I hop over to the water bottle, which I haven't touched in a few minutes. Right. So what we do on CoinMarketCap, is we pop the old cursor in the search box and put in LCC, Litecoin Cash. Here it is. Litecoin Cash is trading around $7 today, with a $3 million trading volume and a 40% gain in the last 24 hours. Yikes. So how much data have we got? Only 2 days. So this started 21st of Feb. And it started off at around $5, and its peak there was about $7.75 and is $6.95 right now, with a 40% gain in the last 24 hours. So there's only one exchange that's listing it, which is Yobit. It's trading Litecoin Cash against Bitcoin and Litecoin Cash against the US dollar. I personally have not got access to my Litecoin Cash. Like I always say, you got to be careful, because a lot of times it involves you downloading a Litecoin Cash wallet and then giving that wallet your private key for the wallet that had your Litecoin in when the snapshot was taken. What you've got to be careful of, and I said this on one of my Anarchapulco videos, is that you are exposing the private key that secures a $215 asset. So if you had 10 Litecoin in the wallet, well, that's like $2,000 odd. Right? It's $2,000 odd worth of assets, and you're exposing the private key to that, those $2,000 odd asset, in order to claim assets that are worth, in this case, $70. Is it worth the risk? In my case, no, I don't think it's worth the risk. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to take Litecoin Cash seriously. I'm just going to leave those coins in whatever wallet they're in, and that's the end of it. To my mind, the only safe way around this is to remove the Litecoin from the wallet it's already in to a brand new wallet with a brand new private key. Then use the private key from the old wallet to access your Litecoin Cash. That way, if the software's screwed up or if the key leaks or whatever, the Litecoin has already been moved to another wallet and therefore cannot be stolen by a compromised Litecoin Cash wallet. So that is a foolproof way of accessing your Litecoin Cash. So whether you agree with Litecoin Cash or not, my job is not to judge. My job is to educate and protect you from loss. So that's the strategy. The snapshot has already been taken, so it doesn't matter if you remove your Litecoin, but move it to a brand new wallet with a brand new key, then use the old key to access your Litecoin Cash. It's win-win, right? I'm not going to do that because my Litecoin was in a hardware wallet and I'm not messing about with that just in order to claim some Litecoin Cash. I'm not really that bothered about it. But that's my educational piece for today. I said that the $3 million worth of Litecoin Cash has been traded, right? The volume is going to be relatively low because there's such poor support for Litecoin Cash. The ledger doesn't support it right now. There's only one exchange for it and so on. So it's going to be a reasonably small market. It actually ranks at 1,191 by market cap. And market cap isn't even registering yet. So that's that. So that's all the news stories I have for you today. Let's do another round of chat questions and then I will leave you for today. Let's see what we've got. When you're giving away a Lambo on the Cryptoverse, I could do that. I suppose. I could raffle one off, I suppose. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to have to go back up the chat now. I bought Litecoin Cash at $6. Okay, well, you're in profit in that case. Any research on CVG, what's GVC rather, Genesis Vision? That's not something I've looked into in any depth yet, so I can't really answer that question. Okay, there's no other questions in the YouTube chat. So, Yobit doesn't allow deposits, so that's a bit crap, isn't it? So, a Crypto Brad says he thinks it will pump when the Koreans wake up. That's a distinct possibility. Let's take another check on Steam, see if we've got any more questions on there. Nope. Check in Twitter one last time. No questions on there. Well, there we go then. That's it. We're done. If we've got no other questions, then I shall play out. Let's see if the music works. Yeah, it does. Thanks very much for joining me today, guys. If you like this live stream, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new around here, get subscribed. If you would like access to my very best material, such as my structured online courses, which will take you step by step through things like the history of money, what's a Bitcoin wallet, what's a blockchain, how to make and save money with Bitcoin, how to trade Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, check out my website. It's cryptoversity.com. Click on courses and you can take any one of the courses that I've created for your educational delight. That is all for this week's live stream. I'll be back next week on Monday with a regular episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, guys, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.